Hunter is a bad class in Wild. There are a lot of reasons for this, coming from not getting Shock Spitter reverted, a lot of nerfs because of Standard, the class being underwhelming because of Standard, and they have to keep it more in line because it's too strong at most ranks. I understand that, don't get me wrong, but when you look across the classes and you look at certain Hunter cards compared to other class cards, it really does paint a picture of just how bad Hunter is. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but Hunter had some pretty good decks in the past, and you're not wrong, and Nathria Beast Hunter was tier 1. I'll admit it, it just was. But when was Nathria again? 2 years ago? It's not 2 years. It's not 2 years ago. Now, one of the biggest ways you could change Hunter is to make Hunter actually have a win condition. Most classes do have win conditions. Warrior had Odin, not anymore, but it still has Skipper shenanigans and can deal with charge combos, things like that. Shaman obviously has Shutterwalk, and it has incredible board buffs for even Shaman. Rogue has Garrote. It has Miracle decks. It has Pirate Rogue with very, very powerful minions that Hunter doesn't have even close to as powerful. Priest has, again, very powerful minions that Hunter doesn't have anywhere close to as powerful. It had Zarimi, but it's a little worse, I'll admit. It has Bless, it has Raza, and your Hero Power package. Mage has the quest. Even still that it's nerfed, you can still OTK with the quest with proper setup. Warlock has the quest line. It had Wheel, but, Wheel got nerfed, thank God. And then it has even Warlock, which, summons giants, and they can hit your face with Wind Fury. The list goes on and on about what every class can do, and when you look at Hunter, it just becomes what can't Hunter do. Hunter can't draw cards. Look at all these cards that are Hunter that draws. 27. That's not a lot, especially when you consider most of these are not playable. Singer, not playable. Flare, you don't play it as a draw card. Leatherworking Kit, not playable. Trinket Tracker, it's fine, but it doesn't make the cut in almost any Hunter deck. A lot of lists aren't even running it in Reno Hunter. Call Pet, you used to run this in Beast Hunter. Conjured Arrow, it's fine in Questline, but Questline is fucking terrible. Bunker, it's fine in like a Secret Hunter, same with Costume Singer, but Secret Hunter is terrible. The list goes on. All of these are bad draw cards. Fetch, not good. Furious Halt, mediocre and it has a condition. King's Elic, unplayable. Messenger Buzzard, you know what, that's a good card, I'll admit. Quick Shot. Scavenger's Ingenuity. It's only a good card in a Knuckles Hunter, or if your only beast is Wolpertinger, which you don't want to do anymore because obviously you want Dread Scale. Buzzard, yeah, that's a fine card. It has a lot of issues on its own, but it's fine. 10-Gallon Hat. One of the worst cards ever printed. Conscious Call, pretty terrible. Diving Griffin, only draws Ziliax, the only good rush minion to draw with it. Master's Call, it's 3 mana, draw 3, not very useful. Ursatron, terrible. Fletcher, terrible. Warden, terrible. Barak Kodobane, terrible. Banjosaur, terrible. You have to understand that every other class in the game has card draw. Every single other one. Now, is it amazing for some classes like Death Knight or Priest? No, but it's better than what Hunter has access to. Because Hunter has 2, possibly 3, maybe if you really want to stretch the definition of playable, 4 draw cards. Whereas something like Death Knight has Vampiric Blood. Yeah, it's not very good in Wild, but it's still a very powerful individual card. Acolyte of Death, which is fucking insane, this card. This is one of the best cards in the entire game. Chillfall Baron that sees some play. And then Defrost and Frozen Over for Frost decks. Now, are these all amazing in Wild? No, but that's more of an issue with Death Knight than the cards themselves. I will be honest with you. Same idea with something like Harbinger of Winter. This would go in a Frost deck, of course. And then you look at Priest. Scale Replica was insane in Zarimi Priest. Twilight the Scepter saw a lot of play in Shadow Priest. It might come back even now that Zarimi is nerfed. Cathedral of Anointment, one of the best cards in the entire game, in my opinion. It's fucking crazy. Benevolent Banker, really good card. Insight sees a lot of play in Miracle Priest. Same with Handmaiden. Horn of Rathian saw play in the Zarimi Priest lists. And then you have... I'm sorry, where'd it go? This card, it might not be legal in Wild. It might not be legal in Wild for a long, long time, but it's still one of the best cards in the entire game, Crimson Clergy, as well as Power Word Shield and Anduin's Gift, but it doesn't show up on this page, I will be honest, as really good card draw. So even Priest and Death Knight have better card draw than Hunter. You might be thinking, okay, well, Hunter has bad card draw because it does a lot of damage, right? Hunter is a very aggressive class. They use a lot of burn damage to kill you, as well as their aggressive minions. And that could not be further from the case, actually. Hunter's from-hand damage is one of the worst in the game. It's not good. Look at all these cards. 1 mana, deal 2 damage with no other additional effect. That is not good. 1 mana, deal 1 damage to 3 targets. Yeah, it gets buffed by spell damage very well and Arcane Hunter, but Arcane Hunter is fucking terrible. Very bad. On the Hunt, it deals 1 damage, summon a 1/1. There's 1 mana, 3/1, deal 1 damage in Priest, or not in Priest, actually, there's 1 mana, 3/1, deal 3 damage in Priest, but we don't talk about that. But I was talking about Fillet Fighter. Same with Shimmer Shot, same with Wound Prey. Then you have something like, I don't know, Corrosive Breath. Yeah, this would be a fine card, but you have to run dragons, and Hunter hasn't gotten a new dragon in a long-ass time. The most recent Hunter card to deal damage that came out was Jungle Gym, and on paper, Jungle Gym seemed insane. You play it when you have a very wide board of beasts, it deals up to 7 damage. For 2 mana, that's a lot. But is it, though? The tax of playing Jungle Gym is insane, namely due to the fact that Hunter does not have mana cheat either. Playing Jungle Gym beforehand means that you didn't have a beast in your hand to draw with Buzzard, and if you play it afterward, your board is probably full, or you don't have the mana to play it, and then your board gets wiped because all your minions have 1 health, and you have incredibly not sticky boards. The list goes on and on of Hunter cards that should, in theory, do fine and be relatively fair, but they're not actually playable for one reason or another. Aim Shot is 3 mana, deal 5 damage. Yeah, that would have been fine like 3 years ago, which is when it came out, but nowadays, that's not very good. Celestial Shot, same thing. Celestial Shot was really good in Standard, not even because of the fact that it dealt damage, but the fact that it would give spell damage to Eversong Portal, which actually shows up here. Hunter just does not have the ability to deal damage. That's why even Hunter was actually kind of okay at the start of the expansion, before people realized you could just do literally anything in the world else, me included, because it actually gave Hunter damage from hand. It was insane. Now, Hunter has poor card draw, poor damage. You can even look at other classes. I'll show you Priest damage. Priest has fucking insane damage. You have Shadow Bomber, Mind Seer, Shadowcloth Needle. The best class 1 drop in the entire game, Void Touch Attendant. Defias Leper, Mind Blast, easily the best 2 mana damage spell in the entire game. It goes on and on with like the fact that Priest just is better in every aspect than Hunter is, but I'm not going to get into that. That's another video. So Hunter has pretty bad damage spells and, damage minions. It has terrible card draw. Okay, what else can Hunter do? What that other classes do to be good at the game? Does Hunter have mana cheat? Let's see. Carrion Studies. Next up, our minion costs 1 less. Okay, not very useful. Call Pet. You can draw beasts and it costs 4 less. Card got cut a long time ago. Deadeye makes your hero power cost 1 less. That's fine in that deck. And then, there's not very many cards that say cost less. Starstrung Bow, that was actually a pretty decent card, but it got nerfed, obviously. As well as Secret Hunter not being very good. Mantle Shaper, not actually a very good card in any aspect. I don't know why people thought this card would be good, because playing spells in Hunter is terrible. Then you have Harpoon. Then you have Harpoon Gun. I don't know why this didn't show up. Oh, it cost. Here, I'll change cost to show it up. There we go. Bunker draws you secrets, and then you have Huntress for secrets. Yeah, that's fine, but Secret Hunter is pretty much unplayable. Then I think the only other thing is Harpoon Gun. It's the only other mana cheat in the entire class. This card doesn't count, because obviously... Yeah, I mean, you get where I'm coming from, right? There's bad card draw, bad damage, next to 0 mana cheat, and then you're supposed to pair this up against decks like Shadow Priest, or Garrote Rogue, or Reno Shaman, where all of these decks are better at every stage in the game. Like, it's insane. Every class is better at doing everything in Hunter. Every class is better at drawing. Every class is better at doing damage. Every class is better at clearing the board. Every class is better at going late game. Every class is better at random RNG. Every class is better at everything. So you have to wonder, what is the point to play Hunter in Wild? Hunter has one niche about it that almost no other class has, and that's the fact that it has really good anti-toxic, in quotes, deck tools in things like Flare, Zombies, and Wandering Monster. Flare, Zombies, Wandering Monster. All of those cards were really good, or are really good at any given point in the game. Flare obviously gets rid of Ice Block, so you can kill Quest Mage. Wandering Monster made any deck that, like, made even Hunter have a 100% win rate against Fruit Druid at almost any given point for me. Like, I think I played maybe 30 games of Fruit Druid over the time of that deck existing with even Hunter, and I never lost a single time because of Wandering Monster. And then you have Zombies, which is really good into aggro decks. It's really good into even Shaman especially. Zombies is also just one of the best cards in the entire class, I will be honest with you. But what just happened? What big thing just happened yesterday? Or sorry, as I'm recording this, yesterday, Thursday, 4/25/24. What big thing just happened? If you answered the big wild nerf, sorry, not wild nerf, the big nerf, where you have cards like Time. Oops. Actually, yeah, Time Winder Zarimi, where it went to 8, so that card got nerfed. You have, what is it, Waygate? Open the Waygate, which got nerfed to give you Time Warp. It's not showing, but Time Warp went to once per game. I don't know why it's not showing. That's kind of weird. And then you had Mind Road, which also got nerfed, which made Zombies a lot worse, and Fruit Druid because of... Oops. Floop got changed to Refresh. Yeah, it's still fine in a lot of decks, but Fruit Druid is no longer a deck that you can counter. So Hunter is bad at everything. It is only a counter pick deck, and then all of its counters got nerfed. So what the fuck is the point to play Hunter in Wild? If you answered there isn't one, you would be correct. Now, we get to the stage of how can this be fixed, right? What are things that could have been done to Hunter over the years to prevent things like this happening? One of the biggest ones I can say is to Hunter's damage output and late game potential. Now, you might be thinking, oh, isn't Hunter already a damage class? We already went over this. It's got bad damage. But there are some cards in Hunter that have been really good over the years. Like this one, Defend the Dwarven District. This card used to be really good. Questline Hunter was tier 1 at one point. It was easily the best Hunter deck ever to exist. That's not saying much, though, because... I mean, aside from Beast Hunter, nothing else has ever been in contention for being a good Hunter deck. But you had Defend the Dwarven District, which was really strong. You could fully revert Defend the Dwarven District, and yeah, it would only remove one spell, if I remember correctly. It's just the first spell because it's all 2/2/2. And yeah, that would speed up the deck a lot. But it still suffers the issues of having bad damage spells and bad draw cards to hold it back. Without, of course, Rapid Fire being reverted, and then odd Questline Hunter would probably be good again. Would that be fair for the game? I actually can't say. That deck was really degenerate, I will be honest. Regular Questline Hunter was a lot more fair, but the odd one was a little too strong. It dealt a little too much damage, in my opinion. So I wouldn't do that, but that is something that could be on the board. As well as the biggest miss of the entire revert season, in most people's opinion, is... this card right here, Shock Spitter. Shock Spitter used to be 2 mana, and in Standard, yeah, it was too good. I'll admit it. Way too strong in Standard at 2 and 3 mana. In Wild, however, at 2 mana, it was fine. It was pretty good. Was it amazing? No, because Hunter fucking sucks, and didn't have things like Dreadscale being buffed at the time. But it was good. Then it got nerfed to 3 mana, and it was it was pretty much unplayable. It was terrible, actually. And then now at 4 mana, it's actually unplayable. I've tried on so many occasions to make Shock Spitter playable, but it's just so terrible. The fact that you have to at least set up for like 7 turns of attacking every turn is really hard. It's really hard to attack every turn for 7 turns to get a combo. And that's it. The fact that it's so hard to get so many things... and the fact that, at 4 mana, you can only play 1 on turn 7 with Bran. At 2 mana, you could play 2, and then maybe you would deal like 32 damage. If you attacked every single turn for 7 turns, you would have to have at least 3 weapons. Because of how Hunter works, you need at least 3 weapons. So you'd have to draw 3 cards, you'd have to either draw Shock Spitter or Tutors, which is another 2 cards, so 5 cards. Then you have to draw Bran, which isn't tutorable. So you have to draw at least 6 cards, play them, and attack over 8 turns to deal 32 damage to your opponent. You can understand why Shock Spitter wasn't actually that good in Wild, nor would it have been too good. Yes, of course, we eventually got Instrument Tech, and Instrument Tech, of course, would go in the deck, so it'd be a little bit easier, but it's just everything about Hunter and Wild is bad. It's just so unfortunate that it is one class where all of these culminations of problems exist that hasn't been fixed. Every other class has had those problems fixed over the years. Priest used to have really bad card draw and pretty bad damage overall. Yeah, you would still have, Raza Anduin, but, like, that was it, right? Then, they got a lot of drawing shadow spells. They eventually got Handmaiden. They eventually got Cathedral of Anointment. They kept getting more and more draw spells, and then they got more Mana Cheat to go alongside it. So Priest went from being like a kind of mediocre control-only class to having a combo deck that was really good and an aggro deck that was really good. Shaman, similarly, went from having horrific card draw, arguably as bad as Hunter, and then eventually got a buff to things like Ancestral Knowledge. It got the new location that draws Battlecry minions. It got Warlock Ravager when Murlocs were more powerful in Reno Shaman. It got Trusty Companion for even Shaman. Things of that nature. Warrior is arguably what Hunter was as well in Wild for a long time. Warrior had really bad card draw, really bad mana cheat, and it had no way to win the game for a long, long, long time. Then you have stuff like Sunken City that comes out that gives Warrior From the Depths. Then you get Light the Phoenix that comes out in March of the Lich King. You get Roaring Applause in Festival of Legends. Then you start to see that Hunter or Warrior is like has a lot of card draw and has a lot of mana cheat, but there's still not really that much to do with it, right? Then you get the big bomb card, Odin. Odin is printed, and Odin shakes Warrior to its core. It gives Warrior an actual win condition that it can play around very efficiently because running armor cards is just something Warrior does. It's not something Warrior has to change its deck around to do. It's not something that goes out of the line for Warrior. And it's really easy to get towards because, yeah, it's an 8-mana 8/8 do nothing on the turn you play it, but you'll probably have 40, 50 health at that point, so it's not like it matters. You're not going to die. And then you're doubly rewarded because you want to be playing armor cards in Warrior anyway. So now you gain attack whenever you play a Warrior card. That's insane. This is just like part of the culmination that Hunter needed for so long, and we just haven't gotten. We haven't gotten good card draw on Hunter in a long time. The best card draw on Hunter to come out in a long ass time is Buzzard, the new Buzzard. It's crazy. Every other draw card, terrible. There's nothing. Like, it's unreal. 10-Gallon Hat could have been a good card if it was 1 mana, or it gave +3/+3. Could have been good, but that's it. There's nothing. Bunker and Costume Singer would have been good, but Costume Singer got nerfed, and we haven't really gotten good Secret Hunter synergy in a while. And the only good cards that have been in Secret Hunter both got nerfed in Costume Singer and the Bow card. And then you have the fact that, again, there's no good mana cheat, and there's no good damage, and there's no good win condition. Hunter needs a win condition, and I've proposed so many win conditions for Hunter over the years. You can make Varisa 5 mana, and that would be kind of nuts, actually, because it makes all your Hunter's mediocre ping-style damage cards now deal way more, +2 damage. So you can actually kill your opponent that way. I've proposed making Zul'jin target enemies only, and that would make it so the card can't just kill you whenever you play it. I've proposed so many different changes to Hunter, and it feels like no matter what I think would make the class better in Wild, the devs would never in their life do it because they don't want to see people complain about Hunter in 2 formats. And like, yeah, I get it, but can we please do anything for the class in Wild? It is so unreal how bad it is, and it only gets worse over time because every duck Hunter is good against always gets nerfed. It's so unreal. Like, I don't know what else to say or do or beg for this class to be changed, But this is all I can do. All I can do is make this video format to talk about the weaknesses of Hunter and how desperately it needs to be changed. And that's it. That's all I got. If you enjoy, please tell me what you think below. What do you think they could do to fix Hunter? I don't want to give Hunter just broken cards out the bat. I want Hunter to have cards that actually synergize with the class that are just strong, like Odin. Yeah, Odin was a little too strong and it got nerfed for standard. Whatever. I just want anything to make this class better because it's so unreal how much worse it is than every other class in card quality. Yeah, Demon Hunter and Death Knight are worse than Hunter most of the time in Wild. Not really. Questline Demon Hunter, better than every Hunter deck, by far. And then Death Knight has fucking 3 expansions, or what is it, 4? 5 now? 5 total expansions, so obviously it's going to be terrible. And they haven't printed really, really good Death Knight cards yet. But yeah, sorry for going on a rant about Hunter. It's just really sad how terrible the class is, and I can't get over how bad it is. Anyway, if you enjoy, like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think about it below, what should be changed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.